Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite YouTube channel, and it's your favorite political analysis segment, The Big Point. And like I told you before, this is where we keep track of all the news that happen on a day-to-day basis so that in future you can always make reference to them. Now, the biggest casualty this week has been Chebukati-led team. First, court decided that no, the manual register has to be introduced, and second, the blow from the KPMG report. Now, ladies and gentlemen, because it's now official that Chebukati will have to introduce a manual register, good news to Raila and bad news to William Samoei Ruto's camp, because you know Raila requested that the manual register be provided during the electioneering period, but then Kenya Kwanza with the team decided that no, we have to go digital. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the question that people kept asking themselves, but why was William Ruto so hell-bent on having the manual register phased out completely? And why was Raila and Odinga so interested in this manual register to be in place? The reason is Odinga has experience in the votes and the voting, but William Samoei Ruto has little experience because this is the first time he is vying for a presidency. Now, I think the truth is now coming out. It could be that Chebukati was planning to rig a particular candidate in. Could that be the case? Many people kept asking themselves, why was it that most of the time Chebukati and William Samoei Ruto were on the same page? And why was it that Raila Amollo Odinga was always on the opposite side? And why is it that the alleged mathematic staff, when they jetted into the country, William Samoei Ruto was in support, and also Chebukati was in support of it? But why was it that Raila Amollo Odinga was again on the opposite side? So these questions kept lingering in Kenyans' minds, and perhaps there are some revelations that are coming up, and this, when added up, one could easily tell that there was going to be rigging, and this rigging plot could have been botched by CS Joe Musheru. You know what Joe Musheru said previously, that he would protect Raila's votes. Could it be that he's doing so? So, since the truth is coming out, I think IBC has a lot of work to do, and this work is not only on the voting, but it's on convincing Kenyans that all is well. Now, before we delve into the analysis of our today's session, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to personally urge first-time viewers to kindly subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that anytime we upload a video, you will become the first person to get notified. Now, let us go straight to the analysis of our today's session. And the big point is Chebukati's alleged rigging plot. Now, after KPMG revealed that the IBC register had more than 2 million mysterious voters, registrations that were done dubiously or with fake documents, because you understand the details that were released is that there were some fake passports, fake IDs. All these were used to do registration into the IBC's system. Now, Chebukati and his colleagues have rushed to calm nerves. That's what we have at the moment. But it's a case of too little, too late, like we said in our previous analysis. Perhaps the guys who jetted into the country came to rig the elections using the inflated voters by carefully distributing the numbers to particular polling stations. You know, those people were found with stickers. They were found with materials which, when linked to the recent report from KPMG, one could easily tell that they were planning to do something that is suspicious, something that would easily rig someone in, because there was the allegation of 2 million again, and there is allegation of 2 million dubious voters in this register, and this is after the KPMG audit report. Now, so these people were purported to have come to rig elections using the inflated voters by carefully distributing the numbers into the polling stations. Okay, I have reasons to believe that the 2 million voters that had been initially projected as the numbers that would be cooked or rigged are from these fake entries. It was alleged in the previous campaigns that 2 million voters would be rigged in favor of someone. But the question is, how would that be achieved? Ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty simple, and I would like to take you through a detailed analysis of how this is going to be achieved. You see, one would easily log into the IEBC main server and insert those entries, the cooked entries, insert fake forms, delete forms where voters are low in numbers, and replace with forms with fake forms but still return document numbers. Each document has a serial number. You see, these people would basically track the forms with the little numbers, replace them with forms with inflated numbers, and still return those serial numbers. Because at the end of the day, after CHEBUKATI has announced the winner of the presidential election, you see, it will take a lot of time to go to the Supreme Court to justify whatever they justify. And you remember the previous court battle where the court requested IEBC to open the server, and that was not done. And still, the case ended up ending the way it ended, and you know what happened. So it is very simple. Log in and do all those activities, and oops. So this is the process. But how would they do it if they didn't have the super account? Good, exactly. And that leads us to the next audit report that KPMG released. Mind you, KPMG also reported, also reported that there were mysterious returning officers, we call them digital officers, that had login accounts, that had access privileges almost similar to accounts with a super user level. For instance, there was a Postgres account as one of those fake login accounts that was mentioned. Now let me take you through some of the access rights to the fake accounts to justify my earlier point that rigging was looming, and perhaps IBC could have been aware of this rigging plot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the digital returning officers could, one, transfer voters. And how would this be beneficial to the hackers or to the opponent or to the client? Let me call that person client. The person who's hiring this the hackers is a client. Probably the hackers have been paid handsomely to conduct the activity so that they would transfer voters. Now, this is how it would be achieved. You see, the transfer was going to be beneficial to hackers, perhaps if they wanted to balance voters in polling stations that had lower voter turnout. And remember, they exposed 1 million voters by William Samoei Ruto, where CHEBUKATI said he didn't know how it happened. Perhaps this is the count that executed the transfer, because mind you, IEBC said they were not aware how this transfer was done. And William Samoei Ruto was the first person to bring it to the limelight. So the second account, the access right, is a delete access right. Now this function, the hackers will be able to delete voters in opponent stronghold. That means, if your stronghold has many voters, but then I know that if all your people vote, then I might lose. Then I delete some of the members in your area so that when they come to delete to vote, their details are missing. So that would continue to a level whereby there will be chaos. So if 100 people come, the numbers are not there, of course the people will start rioting and chaos will be there, and there will be delay in the voting process in that region. So that will be beneficial to this client, the person who has hired the hackers, the client, ladies and gentlemen. But the same could also happen to any of them. Could happen to William Ruto, could happen to Raila, could happen to Wajakoya's stronghold. Though so far we do not know Wajakoya's stronghold, but it could happen to any of those presidential candidates. Now, there was the insert access right. So, for purposes of forcing new voters into the register, the insert access right would permit it, add new voters anytime. Then there was the fourth access right. It is the truncate function, and that's used to basically remove certain parts of your details. Perhaps if you're supposed to vote in X, I remove certain details so that you can vote in Y. It could also be update, But now the one that is so interesting is the trigger access right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I expound on it, because this is where everything could be done, and this is so important to database programmers most of the time, because they use the trigger function to execute certain thing. It's like you put a time bomb in a place, and this time bomb will be executed anytime an event occurs. An event could be anything. Now, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps if you're watching us and you haven't subscribed, please take a moment and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the trigger access right, so dangerous. Now, this is dangerous, and most hackers will take advantage of this tool. Why? For instance, if Smartmatic International staff had plans to hack, then they would resign certain codes or database procedures that are only active within the database and are invoked by certain events or certain occurrences. That interprets like this: an event like votes being uploaded into the IBC with the forms, so that is presidential votes in, let's say, if in Nyanza perhaps, and Raila has gotten 1 million votes, and these votes are being uploaded. Of course, they are uploaded per polling station by the returning officers. So this will be uploaded, and consequently, that trigger that acts like a time bomb. Anytime it receives Raila's votes, it adds to Ruto's votes particular number. I am not trying to say that it will happen to Raila or Ruto. I'm just giving an example. It could be that if those votes are uploaded to Ruto's votes, then Raila's votes should be automatically added by a particular margin. So with that kind of thing, then you realize that there will be no particular time where Raila's votes will tally with Ruto's votes, and that trigger effect is very, very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. You see, for example, if Raila receives 20,000 new votes, Ruto's votes should receive additional 1,000 votes. That is extra. So if I upload up to 20,000 to Raila, Ruto gets 1,000, or Ruto gets 100, or any number, depending on how the programmers have actually designed the database trigger. So this trigger access right is very, very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. So mathematically, Ruto will always be ahead of Raila, because Ruto will receive all his stronghold votes plus certain votes which are inflated as a result of the trigger function. The process can also work on the other way, as explained initially, not necessarily to benefit Ruto alone, but it can benefit Ruto's party, Agano party, or Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Then there was the update function, or rather the update access right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I have demonstrated perfectly well how these hackers would take advantage of these digital returning officer accounts with super level access rights. So the question is, who created these accounts? I think that's the question that CHEBUKATI should tell Kenyans. He has an obligation to make Kenyans know why these access rights, similar to super accounts, were created, and what was the intention of creating this, and why the 2 million votes were created. 2 million voters were created in the system. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have systematically, scientifically demonstrated to you why I believe CHEBUKATI has more to say than just telling Kenyans that all is well. Now, perhaps, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to the end of my analysis for this session, and you haven't subscribed, please take a moment and support the channel by subscribing. You can share our channel widely. And once again, I'd like to say thank you so much for being with us. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay blessed.